Hello guys, I hope you guys are fine today, and we are going to speak about human evolution. So we are going to speak about human evolution because I would like to, I would like to tell you that this is a theory. All right, it is not a fact. It is a theory, and I personally believe in God. I'm a Christian, but I'm also a biology teacher, a biologist. So um, I enjoy teaching every topic of it, but it doesn't affect my faith. And I have to actually tell you that actually remind you of the difference between facts, um, hypothesis, and theory. What is a fact? A fact is a piece of verified information, something that is known to exist or to be true, as opposed to just a statement or belief, whether true or not. So examples of facts are: the sky is blue, the earth is round rather than flat, diamonds are made of carbon, chromosomes consist of DNA and proteins. Those are facts. Note that some statements that were once regarded as well established facts may prove to be untrue later on. For example, things that are not facts after all, like whales are very large fish. They used to think that whales are fish, but they are not. We know that they are mammals. So, whales are very large fish cease to be a fact because now we know that whales are not fish. They are mammals. Okay? For another one is continents can't move. That was a fact way back. But now we know that continents do move. The tectonic plates. The tectonic plates, they cause it, to move. The tectonic plates. So the earth is, they say, but I won't mention that one. So scientists implicitly accept that many of their facts, like all scientific knowledge, are only provisionally true, that is, true beyond reasonable doubt, or true to the best of their or of our understanding. So absolute certainty is not a scientific concept. So a fact can also be changed with time when we verify that that fact is actually not a fact. It's not true. So I also want to remind you about hypothesis. A scientific hypothesis is an idea or proposition about the natural world that can be tested by observations or experiments. So note that scientific hypotheses may or may not be correct. The important thing is that they are potentially falsifiable. So propositions with a supernatural component. For example, we that believe in God, like we say, God created man in his own image. Science wants scientific evidence, but this is based on faith. So whether this is true or not, according to science, it cannot be tested scientifically because it is based on faith. Like me, I believe. It is my faith that God created man. I believe that it exists. But scientifically, you cannot prove it. You cannot put God in a test tube or try to design an experiment and then carry out that experiment to prove that God exists. It's not possible. So it means if it cannot be tested, science cannot accept. This is how science functions. So cannot be tested scientifically and consequently cannot form part of a scientific model, just as in most countries such supernatural propositions are not even accepted as evidence in a court of law because of that. Like, let's say someone kills a person and then says, no, the devil made me to do it. It won't be accepted. So what I mean is, well-established hypotheses may become accepted as facts, or if they have broad explanatory power, as theories. So if their explanation is broad enough, it can become a theory. So examples of scientific hypotheses are South America and Africa were once joined together. I'll just give you one in this case. That is a hypothesis. So what is a theory? Just a reminder. A theory, or a scientific theory, is a coherent explanation or model that makes sense of a large number of facts and observations about the natural world. A successful theory is based on and is compatible with all the relevant evidence. It has been thoroughly tested scientifically and makes multiple predictions that can be tested against new evidence. So good examples of successful scientific theories are the atomic theory of matter, the heliocentric model of the solar system, gravity, relativity, the Big Bang, plate tectonics, and continental drifts. Like we said, that once when you say fact, it was a fact that continents cannot move, because way back they didn't know, they were ignorant of the existence of plate tectonics. But now we know that continents do move because of the plate tectonics. So that fact is no longer a fact. It was found to be untrue, you see. So those are the ones I gave you now: heliocentric model of the solar system, gravity, relativity, the Big Bang, plate tectonics, and continental drift, cell theory, and the germ theory of disease. Those are examples. And examples of failed theories include the theory of spontaneous generation, the inheritance of acquired characteristics, that Lamarckism, and so on. Okay, guys. So just a reminder. Okay. So human evolution is actually our topic today, and we are going to focus on human evolution. So our place in the animal kingdom. So we are classified as mammals. We are mammals, and our order is, okay, we are primates, so primata, so we are primates. And we are placed in a superfamily called Hominoidea. Hominoidea. And the family is Hominidae, genus is Homo, and species is Homo sapiens. So our species name is Homo sapiens, okay, which means wise man. All right. So okay, scientific classification. We're starting from kingdom. So we've got Animalia, phylum is Chordata, class is Mammalia, order is Primate, superfamily Hominoidae. But we've got two families under this superfamily. We've got family Hominidae, where you find the large apes, and the family Hylobatidae. So that's where you find gibbons. So under Hominidae family, you have two subfamilies. You have Ponginae and Homininae. So under Ponginae, you've got orangutans, and they fall under the genus Pongo. But under subfamily Homininae, that's where you find two tribes. You find the tribe of gorilla, which is Gorillinae, okay? The genus for gorilla is gorilla, actually. And the tribe Homininae, that's where you find also two subtribes, which is Hominina and subtribe Panina. And under subtribe Panina, that's where you find chimpanzees, okay? So Hominina, that's where you find only one genus, Homo, okay? Homo, okay? So human and fossil ancestors. and also another genus Australopithecus. So under subtribe Hominina, you find two genus, Homo and Australopithecus, which means ape man. Okay, so this is the evolutionary path of the superfamily Hominidae. So this is actually showing you that all of them, they share a common ancestor. So starting from the oldest one, the gibbons, then orangutan, then gorilla, then chimpanzee, and then humans. So humans are closely related to chimpanzees because that's what it is depicting here. Okay, so characteristics we share with other primates. What are the characteristics we share with other primates? So one of them is opposable thumb. Monkeys, for example, are capable of a power grip only, but humans are capable of both power and precision grip. So power grip and precision grip. So these are characteristics that we share with other primates. Okay, but here opposable thumb, we have got something that they can't do, which is precision grip. But we all have opposable thumb. We also have two hands, each one with 5 fingers, and long arms that rotate freely. Okay, there's a joint that allows movements in all directions. Okay, on our shoulder. We've got naked finger and tall hands with flat nails, reduced snout with weakened sense of smell, okay, and stereoscopic vision. Okay, stereoscopic vision. Besides that, we also have eyes, okay, with cones and rods, okay, and the ability to see color. Our brains are large in comparison to the body mass. Okay, brain centers that process information from hands and eyes are enlarged because we use too much our hands. So we need to have a developed sensitivity in our hands and our brains. They must be connected in such a way that whatsoever you would touch, there's a information that is sent to the brain to process it. And few offspring. Okay, so these are the characteristics that we share with other primates. So characteristics that make us different from other primates are: humans are bipedal. So bipedalism. What is bipedalism? Is the ability to walk upright on 2 legs. So if you walk upright on 2 legs, humans do that. So we are bipedals. So we call it bipedalism. Okay. So we also have a flat face with no protruding jaw. So protruding jaw is when the jaws stick out in front of the face. Like the large apes, they've got a protruding jaw. So our face is almost vertical, so flat. And our dentition is similar to that of monkeys and gibbons, but different from that of older primates. Okay, that's it. Okay, different from orangutans, chimps, and so on. You see, so also we have to notice that we've got smaller canines. Okay, and jaws have a gentle curve. I've got images to actually depict this. Jaws have a gentle curve, and they house all the teeth. And large developed brain, okay, an average is more or less 1,400 cubic centimeters. Okay, it's a large brain in comparison to the body mass. And we have increased dexterity. Okay, increased dexterity, right? Our ability, okay, to use our hands, and our ability to process information, our ability, a lot of things. Okay, so that's it. We use language to communicate, and also the ability to use our hands in such a way that we can call it precision grip. Like you can notice that a monkey or a gorilla or a chimp cannot write. Okay, but we can hold a pen and write. We call it precision grip. Okay, we can sew our clothes and a lot of things that we can do with our hands. We can engineer things like cars with our hands. So that's called precision grip. You know, that's okay. So you can see here, gorilla. When we spoke about protruding jaws, you see that the face of gorilla is it has got a sloping face. The angle, right, is acute. Okay, we are talking about an angle that is less than 90 degrees. Okay, far than 90 degrees. Okay, far less than 90 degrees. Then we see the Australopithecus. It has got a face that is kind of protruding, but is flatter than the gorilla face. Okay, and now Homo sapiens, like a flat face. Okay, you see the differences. You can see the differences. You can also see the differences in the dentition, but I've got an image on that. Okay, so let's speak about trends in human evolution. Okay, first of all, I have to tell you that humans did not develop from chimps or from gorilla. Molecular evidence shows that the evolutionary lines of the chimpanzee and gorilla were separated from those of the humans more or less 8 million years ago, and the search for a common ancestor for humans, chimpanzees, and gorilla is therefore in progress. So what we are saying here is that humans did not develop from chimps, from gorillas, from bonobos, from gibbons. No, they just share a common ancestor. That's the correct answer. That's the correct way of depicting this. Okay, so they're still searching for their common ancestor. So the big question scientists have to answer is whether the common ancestor was ape-like or human-like. So that's the answer that they must. That's the question that they must answer. Okay, so remains of earlier hominids are very rare. That's the problem. And studies shows that human DNA corresponds to 98.6% with that of the chimpanzee. So human evolution is characterized by a number of important morphological, physiological, and behavioral changes since the separation between humans and chimpanzees. Okay? Yes. And also, you can see the difference here. When you say morphological changes, you see the chimpanzee and the human. So morphological changes there. We also have physiological and behavioral changes. So the biggest discernible difference between ape-like beings and modern humans lie mainly in the difference in posture and mode of locomotion. You see, the posture here is different. So it lies mainly in the difference. It lies mainly in, posture and mode of locomotion. So ape-like beings, you can see from this image, are quadrupedal. Gorillas and chimpanzees have a special knuckle walking style when walking. Okay? We are bipedal. There's a difference. See that? The head of ape being is situated in front of the body. You can see here. In front of the body. Okay? In front of the body. Which means that the foramen magnum, you can see this image here showing you you see this? I've got a skull on the left, my far left. Then the second one, you see a hole right here. This hole is the foramen magnum. Okay, it is the foramen magnum here. Okay. In humans, the foramen magnum shifted to a more forward position, while the head is situated above the body. So the foramen magnum for humans is like, you can see that the foramen magnum is almost at the center, okay, of the skull, okay, while the head is situated above the body for humans, and the foramen magnum lies at the bottom of the skull. Just look at this image. That's what allows us to have this bipedal position. The foramen magnum position allows that. Okay, so it is located a little bit forward than the foramen magnum of apes like chimps and so on. So what I'm saying is the foramen magnum of a human is, my far left. You see the skull, then you see the second on top. That belongs to the human, and then the second below, you can see that that's of a chimp. Okay, the foramen magnum of a chimp. Maybe I have to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so what I'm talking about, guys, is simply this. You see here, so let me try to write here if possible. I don't know if it's possible. Right here is the foramen magnum of here. Okay, this thing here that I'm pointing to. Okay, the foramen magnum of humans. Okay. This is the foramen magnum of humans, and here we have, okay, the foramen magnum of, okay, chimps here. Okay, this is the foramen magnum. Okay, and here, this is the foramen magnum. I hope you guys can see what I'm pointing at. Okay, foramen magnum, foramen magnum. That's what I mean here. Okay, so all right, let me try to go back. Okay, discard. Now let me go back to their normal. All right, so that's it about the foramen magnum. So the skull of the ape-like beings has protruding jaws. Okay, you can see here, far left, below, that's of the chimp. So protruding jaws, prominent eyebrow ridges, and large canines. So the cranium brain case, okay, cranium brain case is small and long, and a human has a more rounded skull. You can see it's more rounded. Humans, more rounded skull and an increased cranium size. Okay, so the face is flatter due to, our face is flatter due to a less slanted forehead, less sloping, okay, less sloping. So less protruding jaws, so it is more rounded, and more developed chin. Okay, more developed chin. Canines are the same size as the rest of the teeth. Okay, so ape-like beings have short legs. Okay, let us see. Ape-like beings have short legs. You can see here the legs are short and the arms are long for the chimpanzee. While humans have short arms, you can see here from this image, and relatively long legs. Okay, going back there. The pelvis is long and narrow in apes. From my far left, the third one is the pelvis. You can see that the pelvis of the apes below are narrow and long, while the human pelvis is short and wide on top. Okay, so ape-like beings have a vertebral column that is C-shaped. I don't have the image for that. I think so. And while humans have a S-shaped vertebral column. Okay, so this is the table depicting what I'm talking about here, explaining everything that I mentioned. Okay, just look at it. I don't think I have to repeat it. Okay, the brow ridges are not as distinct for us, but brow ridges are distinct for other primates. For example, face, flat face, other primates, sloping face. You see that, and so on. Okay, so it's here. Okay, the difference in tooth size between a modern chimpanzee left, Australopithecus afarensis center, and a modern human. So you can see the hour is curved, gently curved. Okay, and of the chimpanzee, it's got a U. You see that U shape. Okay, like a U here. Okay, ours is curved, gently curved. So there's a difference in the indentation. In the middle is kind of similar to ours, but more like of an ape. More like of an ape. Okay, so we mentioned that. Okay, here speaking about canines only. So spaces between teeth. For humans, smaller spaces between the teeth. Just look, smaller spaces for us. Far right, okay, you know, I mean, actually here just say on the right, humans, smaller spaces. Then for spaces between the teeth for other primates, large spaces between the teeth for other primates. You can see here, you know, for chimps, you know, large spaces between the teeth. You see that? So okay, here you see what is called an anthropoid. It is called an anthropoid, and in this group, okay, guess what we have in this group here? Okay, we call it anthropoids. So humans, monkeys, and apes belong to a subgroup of advanced primates called anthropoids. So humans, apes, and monkeys, they are similar. So they are put under under one group. We call it anthropoid. Anthropoid means man-like. Okay, anthropoid means man-like. All right. So let us speak about Australopithecus, the first bipedal primate. Okay, so Australopithecus is seen as the first bipedal primate. Okay, they had both ape-like and human-like characteristics. They were like a transitional phase between apes and humans. That's why they have ape-like characteristics and human-like characteristics. Sometimes they are called ape men, and actually Australopithecus literally means southern ape, and it is estimated that Australopithecus lived between 4.5 to 2 million years ago. Okay, so general characteristics of Australopithecus is that they are bipedal and walk upright. So if they are bipedal, my friends, let me go back here and show you something. It means that the foramen magnum, okay, is located almost at the center of the skull. So the foramen magnum is located almost at the center of the skull. All right. That's why it allows the skull to be on top. Okay. So what we mean here is that it allows the head to be situated above the body. It allows the head to be situated above the body and the foramen magnum lies at the bottom of the skull. So the foramen magnum is at the bottom of the skull. Whereas for other primates, the foramen magnum lies at the back of the skull. For humans, the foramen magnum is at the bottom of the skull. But for other primates, the foramen magnum is at the back of the skull. This is critical information. Other primates, you mean the chimpanzee, gorilla, and so on. That's why they are quadrupedal, because of the position of their foramen magnum. It is at the back of the skull. You can notice here, I even showed you, at the back of the skull. And for humans, almost at the center of the skull. Okay, so head is above the body. Okay, and the foramen magnum lies at the bottom of the skull. Whereas for other primates, it lies at the back of the skull. Notice that, don't forget. Okay, so that's it. Okay, that's it. So this is the information here. I think I spoke about this. And you have to notice that, you have a timeline representing the evolution of hominins here. So you have to notice that there's an overlap between Australopithecus, different species. Australopithecus afarensis, there's a kind of overlap between Australopithecus afarensis and Australopithecus africanus. And also a kind of overlap between Australopithecus africanus and other genera of Australopithecus, and also of Homo. You see, Homo habilis lived almost at the same time with Australopithecus africanus, and also Homo erectus lived almost at the same time with Australopithecus Homo erectus lived almost at the same time with Homo habilis. Somehow there's an overlap, and also other species of Australopithecus. So it tells us that they don't have, it tells us that Homo genus did not come from Australopithecus. They only share a common ancestor. They only share what? A common ancestor. And we even know that chimps are still around, gorillas are still around, they are still around with us. So we share a common ancestor. So that popular knowledge outside, which is not scientific, that says that science says that people are coming from monkeys, is not true. That's not actually what they are saying. They're not saying that we are coming from monkeys. They are saying that humans and monkeys, they share a common ancestor. And let me remind you that it's just a theory. And yes, it's just a theory. Okay, based on scientific evidence. And I already told you that I'm a Christian. I'm just teaching you this, but this is nonsense for me. Okay, I won't even lie, but I have to teach you. Okay, but this is a very big nonsense. Okay, here you have to know, you read things, but you must have a critical thinking ability. The ability to think for yourself, not just to absorb information, but the ability to make a decision based on what you have absorbed from books whatsoever. So just notice here. Okay, so this is like an example of Australopithecus. They look like this. The flat is not that shape. The brown ridges, yeah. Anyway, so let me say something here. Okay, yeah, it's not here. So let us speak about tongue child. Tongue child is an Australopithecus primate that was found at Tongue, northwest of Kimberley. Okay, it was found in 1925. So it was the skull of an ape man child of about 3 or 4 years of age. The skull had human and ape-like characteristics. So when they have human and ape-like characteristics, you already know that it must be most probably an Australopithecus. Okay, brain capacity really, really small here, 340 cubic centimeter, like apes. Human-like teeth. So you see the brain capacity is ape-like. The teeth is human-like. So it is a transitional species. So foramen magnum is in a forward position, which indicates bipedalism. Okay, the skull is estimated to be more or less 2.5 million years of old. Tongue child. This is a skull that they found there. Tongue child. This is a tongue skull here. Okay. Mrs. Pless. So Mrs. Pless is also Australopithecus africanus. So a complete adult skull was found in the Sterkfontein caves in South Africa in 1947. In 1947. So this skull was more or less 2 to 3 million years old. Okay, so the brain capacity is estimated to be similar to that of a chimp. So in terms of brain capacity, they are ape-like. Small brain capacity. Long arms and short legs. So that's also an ape-like characteristic. Okay, the skull was an indication that Mrs. Pless, indicated that it was a female skull. Okay, there are characteristics that you can study to notice if the skull is a female or a male, depending on what you found. If you find a complete one, it's easy to study. So this was an indication that Mrs. Pless was bipedal. Okay, and walked upright. Okay, of course, because of the position of foramen magnum. Okay, there were no protruding canines. The dentition indicates that their main digestion was plant material and little meat were eaten. Okay, Mrs. Pless. Okay, all right. Okay. Very old, nah? Very, very old. Mrs. Pless. That's the skull. Alright. Lucy. Now we are talking about Australopithecus. There's even a movie about Lucy. You know the movie. So, Lucy belongs to Australopithecus afarensis. This is not Africanus. These names must be known by you guys. You must know these names. Huh? You must know tongue child, Mrs. Pless, Lucy. You must know the tongue child is Australopithecus africanus, Mrs. Pless is Australopithecus africanus, Lucy is Australopithecus afarensis. So, a female skeleton that was found in Ethiopia in 1974. So the skeleton dates back to 3.5 million years ago. The shape of the pelvis showed that Lucy was a female individual. Okay, the skeleton was more or less 1 meter tall, and there was evidence of bipedalism. Okay, of course, the evidence of bipedalism is always by the seeing or studying the foramen magnum location. Okay, so the face had ape-like characteristics, namely protruding lower jaw. So protruding lower jaw is a characteristic of apes, so we call it ape-like. And the presence of large canines, because we said that humans have got smaller canines. So this is how they studied. Arms were long and legs short, ape-like. Okay? Ape-like. Because our legs are long and our arms are short. With a brain capacity of 400 cubic centimeters, similar to that of apes, small brain capacity. So Australopithecus africanus means southern ape of Africa, whereas Australopithecus afarensis means southern ape of Afar, because it was found in Afar in Ethiopia. Okay? This is Lucy, guys. Okay, Lucy. Little foot now. Foot bones discovered in Sterkfontein. Okay, Sterkfontein caves in 1994 and in 1997, an almost complete Australopithecus skeleton was found that matched the earlier foot bones. It has already taken more than 10 years to carefully extract the skeleton from the rocks. It has been determined that the arms are short and the hand bones are similar to those of the modern human. with short palms and fingers. Okay. So the Sterkfontein Caves are Domolite Caves northwest of Johannesburg. It is the world's richest hominid fossil site. More than 700 ape-like hominid fossils have already been found there. Sterkfontein. So that area, okay, Sterkfontein, is known as the cradle of humankind. Cradle of humankind. So the question is South Africa the place of origin of humans? Is South Africa the place of origin of the human? According to this theory of evolution. That's the question now. So early hominins. So the genus Homo appeared in Africa more or less 2.5 million years ago. The main difference between the genera Australopithecus and Homo was the brain capacity. Very important. That's the main difference. Brain capacity of Homo was larger. Okay? Homo could make and use tools, start a fire, and develop language. You see? So let us speak about Homo habilis. So Homo habilis is the first Homo species. In 1964, a Homo habilis fossil was discovered in Tanzania. The name literally means handyman. Why? Because it was the first group who used tools made of stone. Lived around 2.4 to 1.5 million years ago in Africa, together with some of the Australopithecus species. You see that overlap I spoke about. Homo habilis and larger brains. Homo habilis had larger brains, like 640 cubic centimeters than Australopithecus. We mentioned that Australopithecus brain capacity, they range, they are around 300 cubic centimeters. So brain capacity here is bigger. Homo habilis is here, guys. You see Homo habilis? So Homo erectus. They are closer to modern humans than to ape man. Ape man, I told you guys, is Australopithecus. Okay? So Homo erectus literally means upright man. Okay? They lived 1.8 to 0.0 million years ago. They were probably the first hominins to leave Africa through Europe to Asia. Okay? Very, very important. A well-known Homo erectus fossil that was found in China is known as the Peking man. Peking man. So it dates back to plus minus 40,000 years ago. So their bodies were large, almost like those of modern man. They had thick skulls with a low but distinct forehead, strong bony eyebrow ridges, and no chin. Both jaws were relatively massive and carried huge teeth. Brain capacity was plus minus 1,000 cubic centimeters. They used stones and bone tools as weapons. They were successful hunters and used fire. Homo erectus, upright man. Don't forget, upright man. He is Homo erectus. Modern hominins. Let's speak about Homo neanderthalensis, a group of people that occurred in Europe and Western Asia around 230,000 to 30,000 years ago. The first fossil was found in the Neander Valley in Germany, near Düsseldorf. Okay? Their skulls were long and flat, with low foreheads, a broad nose, and a large bony ridge above their eyes. Their brains were huge. Language was underdeveloped. Very little technological development. They wore skin clothing, built shelters in caves. They were hunters and used fire. The fact that they were buried, the dead indicated some form of spiritual life. Yeah, spiritual life. I'm into spiritual life. Okay, guys? That's my disclaimer. I'm just teaching you this. I'm up to spiritual life. Hallelujah. Okay, credit. I believe in that. So, Homo sapiens. This is Homo neanderthalensis, guys. Homo sapiens. So, this group is seen as our direct ancestors. Supposedly developed plus minus 200,000 years ago. It is claimed that the appearance of the Homo sapiens led to the disappearance of the Neanderthals. Homo sapiens developed better skills and had advanced technology. Their tools were made from bone and stone and included spears, bows, and arrows, and fishing hooks. Their clothes were mainly made from leather and plant materials. Homo sapiens lived in tents, in communities. They were nomadic hunters that followed the animals during the summer. They developed agriculture and cultivated the land. They wore jewelry and decorated themselves with body paint. They had hunting, birth, and death rituals. They also buried their dead, like the Neanderthals, indicating some form of spiritual life. These guys are funny, I'm telling you. So, sometimes the modern human like us is referred to as Homo sapiens sapiens. That's a subspecies of Homo sapiens. So, modern man has the ability to alter, change their environment. They are different from the earlier Homo sapiens who could not change their environment and thus became extinct. At present, modern man stands on the brink of the sixth extinction as a result of man's destructive impact on the environment. Okay, guys? I spoke about this. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day.